Sometimes it's not fake news, it's just wrong news. Sloppy fact-checking, not done, sloppy reporting. This morning, CNN breathlessly delivered that they advertised this major scoop.
Breaking news in the Russia investigation and two CNN exclusive reports. This morning, newly surfaced emails show an effort to give hacked WikiLeaks documents to the Trump campaign.
Donald Trump Jr. and others in the Trump organization received an email in September 2016 offering a decryption key and website address for hacked WikiLeaks documents. Now, this is according to the September 4th, 2016 email.
You now know, looking at timing, that Manu reported that Don Jr., the president's son, tweeted about WikiLeaks for the first time the same day that this email that he doesn't recall came through. Politically, just difficult for the team, or legally some implications here?
Well, there's certainly just one little problem. They got the date wrong. This shows the email was sent to John Jr. last year on September 14th, not the 4th. That was after WikiLeaks had already made those documents public, leaving CNN once again with a fried egg on its face. This was just the latest in a long line of media screw-ups. Look at these examples from just the past 7 days. In addition to the CNN mistake, ABC News incorrectly claimed that candidate Donald Trump directed Mike Flynn to contact Russians during the 2016 campaign. It actually happened when he was already president-elect. Big deal. And the New York Times had to heavily amend a report that former Trump aide K.T. McFarland lied to Congress about Flynn's communications with the Russians, and multiple outlets walked back stories that Deutsche Bank received a subpoena from Bob Mueller targeting Trump's bank records regarding real estate deals. Joining us now with reaction is Jim Warren, the chief media writer for the Poynter Institute, a society of professional journalists, along with Roger Simon, CEO emeritus of PJ Media and an Academy Award-nominated screenwriter. I'd love to have that bio after my name, Roger. Let's start with you, Jim. You represent a society of professional journalists, Jim. This has been a wild week for journalists, given the mistakes and the fact-checking and the sloppy reporting. And we just mentioned a few there. What are your thoughts, especially on CNN rushing out with this Don Jr. story this morning?
Well, yeah, I mean, you're right. In less than a week, you have this, and you have the one, I think last Friday, Brian Ross of ABC News, who was ultimately suspended for botching a Michael Flynn story that targeted President Trump. And this, in case people missed it, the basic thrust was that there was a coziness between WikiLeaks and the curious Mr. Assange in the Ecuadorian embassy in London, and Donald Trump Jr. As you just said, the critical mistake happened to be one digit, September 4th, rather than the 14th. And in fact, by the time that Don Jr. tweeted this, as you said, all this stuff was publicly available. Now, I think a lot of this is explained by the nature of the internet and putting a primacy on speed, and I think it's got something to do with weakened infrastructure.
Bias, Jim.
I think just
it always seems the mistakes go one way. That's why, Jim. I mean, they always seem to go against Trump. They never seem to be, wow, the economy's even doing better, or Mueller hasn't found anything yet. Turns out Mueller has. You know what I mean? So it always seems to go against Trump. So I think it hurts the media's credibility. Roger, you can weigh in, then Jim can come back.
I'm nodding my head for a reason. I think that there is a real psychological component in this. I mean, why do intelligent people make so many mistakes? And the reason, I think, is Trump derangement syndrome. I think these people hate Trump so much that they'll grab a fact like that is bad for Trump and just accept it without doing the normal due diligence that any intelligent reporter would do, especially from organizations like Reuters and CNN, which have tremendous facilities. But they don't do it because they're so anxious to get him. The hatred is what, I think we all know that hatred does bad things to everybody's head. Does it bad to mine. Every time I'm hating somebody, I can't write or think very well, and I think that's a factor here. I don't know, I don't know if my colleague agrees, but I really find that there.
I want to play, guys. I want to play one more soundbite from tonight's rally and have you both react. Let's watch.
They took this fraudster from ABC. They suspended him for a month. They should have fired him for what he wrote. And then CNN apologized just a little while ago. They apologized. Oh, thank you, CNN. Thank you so much. You should have been apologizing for the last 2 years. True.
Jim, I think that the media, they get their back up when he says stuff like this, but it actually works. I think most people, they're fed up with a bunch of things. Washington, they're sick of lawyers, and they're tired of the media. And I think it plays right into what most people think, is that the media is pretty biased, and it's biased toward the left wing.
Well, I think one of the most interesting pieces of survey information I've seen the last year is how, and I think this is related to speeches like tonight, how, only about a year ago, Laura, about 75% of Republicans, 75% of Democrats all supported the notion of the media having a watchdog role. That's now dramatically changed among conservatives, and now that number is in the 40s. I think one does have a lot of mistakes. I do think there is a primacy on speed, which can trap many of us, but we're also forgetting the spectacular work that's being done every day of late on the whole issue of sexual harassment by the New York Times, and Washington Post has also done a good job. And the fact that in a case like Donald Trump Jr. today, very quickly out of the box were several media reports, notably the Washington Post, for a terrific, comprehensive story calling out CNN and making clear what exactly were the facts here with Donald Trump Jr. and at the same time making note that there were other examples that are irrefutable of a fairly cozy relationship between WikiLeaks and Donald Trump Jr. when it came to WikiLeaks, at other times tipping him off to stuff that was very unflattering to the Clinton campaign.
All right.